Buenos dias, and I have a new book. I'm so excited about this one. It's called Mosquito Supper Club. And I mean, this is the back. It was selected as Best American Cookbook. Not sure what year, but it doesn't matter. The point is, when I saw this book, I had no idea about anything surrounding this. I just read the cover and it said Cajun recipes from a disappearing bayou. I even had to Google how to say Cajun because in Spanish it would be Cajun. But anyway, I don't even know where to start because I have to read so much history of the United States and the colonies and also France and a lot of things to be able to understand what is Cajun. But let's start with the easiest one, bayou. So bayou is simply shallow water areas of rivers or basically, have you seen any of the movies around Louisiana with these shallow swamps, very heavy trees and manglers kind of thing? Those areas, that's what they call bayou and the bayou country, and it's the southeastern part of the United States. And if you have read the book or seen the movie better of where the crawdads sing, then it's that area. So you can picture it and familiarize with it. And I have no idea about this area, I have no idea about the history. So it really got me a lot of time to understand what it is. And I think I need to continue with what is Cajun. So what I have learned from different websites and different books is that Cajun comes from Acadians. And Acadians were a French ethnical group that were living in Acadiana. And Acadiana was in the eastern coast of Canada and parts of Maine. And at a certain point, the French expulsed them, and some of those populations that were basically in Maine, Quebec, parts of Quebec and other areas had to go south or migrated south looking for opportunities. And that's how they ended up in the Creole area around Louisiana and the Bayou country, and they immersed themselves in that culture, ended up calling that culture eventually Cajun. And one of the interesting parts that I found that I think helped me understand a little bit what this means for the recipes, the culture, everything, is that people Acadians that ended up in this area of Louisiana, they first became Creole. So they first embraced Creole, they built Cajun culture, and then they ended up Americanizing themselves much later. So the use of French and the use of the mix of cultures in the area, because apparently that area is so full of other cultures. I mean, black populations that were running or going from different places in the area, but also Spanish settlers, German settlers, different religions and people that ended up, it is literally like a melting pot of just culture. And I really got interested in this area because I think that it's fascinating. It's fascinating what that means for cuisine and for gastronomy in general. And what attracted me the most of this cover is shrimp. And for those that know me, they would say that shrimps and anything that is seafood is my number one thing to take in any menu wherever I go. Please don't tell this to my environmental friends and all the people caring about sustainability. I'm so sorry. But yeah, whenever I'm depressed, I eat shrimps. So this cover was for me, and also the back part with all the seafood. And it's a pretty heavy book. It has a lot of content, and I'll be showing you more about that. But who is the author? The author is Melissa Martin, and I love, when I Google her name and trying to find out who she is, there's not much deep information about who she is. It's more like a biography, like the usual information of she's a chef, etc. So yeah, she's a chef, worked many years in different restaurants in New Orleans, ended up thinking, I want to do something about the food I grew up with, which is Cajun food from the Bayou area. So her grandparents apparently and parts of her family were oyster men, fishermen, just normal people from the area that were doing everything with seafood and fishermen. And she wanted to do something about it and to enhance it and show it to the world, and ended up quitting her fancy job as a chef and putting the Mosquito Supper Club. And this has been a great decision, I think, because everything I hear about this restaurant in many multiple videos and articles is that it's overwhelmingly good, and she seems to be very down to earth. Like if you just Google her pictures, I'll put some here. It's always like she's really doing something, and she's really in the ground and like really working on different things. And she seems to be like a very humble person and very straightforward, like no bullshit. And I think in a way, when I think about people in that area after reading so much about it, I think is maybe she's like the perfect person to show that culture, because she is that culture, like straightforward, hard work, and then these incredible, amazing, this delicious seafood that comes into like gumbos and mixes of different cultures. One thing I gotta say is that I checked what is the difference then between Cajun and Creole, and some of the articles I found from one of the historic museums of New Orleans says that basically the difference between Cajun and Creole is just Cajun are white descendant and Creole are black. And I'm gonna put the link down so you can have a read at that, but there must be some slight differences, I guess, in spices about their cuisine, but due to the Americanization and because of Jim Crow changes in legislation and all that era, it had like a split. It used to be that anyone was a Creole in the area, but then with time and because of all these legal and also like because of the segregation laws, it ended up splitting, and then people started building their own, what is Creole as my culture and what is Cajun as my culture. So it is very alike in terms of cuisine, and I can see so many of these even with the books that I've been reading before this one, which are all about the gulagichi, and so many of the recipes and things that I saw there, I could see also in this one, like the different influences. Of course, this is heavily seafood, and it is very surprising. Some of the recipes here are like, you just really want to go to a place because it's very, very good. And it feels deep, like every stock, everything you have is like extreme flavor. That's how I feel about this book. So anyway, let's have a look at it, and I hope you like it. And I don't even know how much it cost because I took this one from the library, but I am going to order for myself because I really loved it. Okay, so here is the Mosquito Supper Club. Look, I love the photography because it's so just nature and enlightening the jobs of everyone that is working in the bayou country. I love this picture. And I assume that this is the author. For my mom, Maxine, and Martin, who made feeding 6 kids her full-time job. I love that quote. Yes, nobody gives credit to incredible moms. And here it is. This is the table of contents. Shrimp. Oh my God, my favorite thing in the world. Shrimp. Why not? The seafood industry in Louisiana. Then crab. Then oysters. Oysters. Oh my God. Crawfish. Gumbo. Gumbo. Please. Like, let's stop there and understand this. And then poultry, meat, and rice. And rice. I mean, I have to say that one of the things that attract me to the gulagichi recipes, to New Orleans recipes, and to this area is the use of rice. So yeah, I'm a rice person coming from the Caribbean. Then fish, salt pork and beans, vegetables, pantry, and sweetened bread. I have not read this, by the way. I have to read it. I read like 2 paragraphs, and then I ended up in the rabbit hole of the internet looking for more information about Cajuns and Creole, as I explained before. But I should definitely read this entirely. It would have been better to start there. Point taken. Anyway. Cajun larder. And then all of these. I love this section because I'm always wondering what is the typical thing that I should have in terms of spices and seasoning. And I've seen these Louisiana hot sauce everywhere. when you go to an American store, or you can buy it online. So I'm definitely gonna get that. I love the explanation for like cornmeal, for instance, like what is used with what, because sometimes I end up like using cornmeal from South America and I really wonder, is this the thing? And what type of mustard and ketchup should be used. Then all of it, like shrimp, salt pork. And here it is. This is the starting point for this chapter on shrimps, boiled shrimp. It already has like cayenne pepper and a lot of things in it, which is not common to see in Sweden at all, because here shrimp is like very mild flavor. It's never overdone, and it's more like creamy and like served with like a Cajun, stuff like that. And that is so different to how we see shrimp in the Caribbean. That is like very flavor oriented, like a lot of spices in it. I like the texture. Fried soft shell shrimp. I've tried these in Asian stores, but I have never seen it this style. This has to be French. Bullets, shrimp bullets. Okay, whatever. Like if the French want to change me, but I think that this looks very interesting to me, and I would love to do this recipe. That's why I marked it. This explanation, like size of shrimp and what is that, and the price of it is super shocking, the prices, because it's so different from Scandinavia that I was like, why do I live here? Fried shrimp po' boys. This almost looks Asian. Shrimp jambalaya, which is very famous jambalaya. And I love all the pictures in this book are amazing. Look at this. Oh God. Look at this, the benefits of frozen shrimp. I hadn't seen that one. Freezing fresh shrimp is one of the best ways to ensure that you can eat it all year long. When my family brings in 500 pounds of shrimp, wow, 500 pounds, we immediately wash them, remove their heads, and freeze them. This maintains the shrimp's freshness and flavor. Shrimp should be beautiful silver color when they are frozen. If you mess with the process by adding solution, salt, corn syrup, or sugar, then you mess with the integrity of the product. The best way to freeze shrimp is to buy an ice chest packed with fresh shrimp from a shrimper during shrimp season. Once you've got them home, slightly wash the shrimp, remove their heads, and pack them into quart or gallon freezer bags. Freeze them for up to 6 months so you have delicious shrimp available to enjoy anytime. Nice. Okay, dried shrimp, very popular in Asia, and I use it a lot like in Thai cuisine. Thai dishes, a lot of umami there. Okay, I marked this one because I always mess up opening. I mean, I am sure that I'm not the only one, but like how to eat crab is a thing, and I am so glad that she thought this was necessary. And I think it's because probably she saw so many people in her restaurant, and I would have been that idiot that would have murdered the crab into, no, it would have not been good. So I love this explanation. I wonder if she could do the same, but like with crayfish, because I have these, we eat a lot of crayfish in summer in Sweden, and we actually have a crayfish party. Don't ask me why, it's very complicated. This is it's a complex culture, Sweden. So yeah, if you wanna go to a crayfish party at the end of summer, you should definitely try it. But like the amount of techniques people have explained to me on how to open the crayfish it's overwhelming. Look at this crab butter. Why I never thought of this? I really feel sometimes that I'm not that genius as I thought I was, because I never thought of this one. Not only that, I don't know if I marked it here, but there is also a oyster butter. This one, the oyster butter. Why I never thought of this? I have no idea. I love oyster and I love butter. So why not mix them? It's the same with this. I love crab and I love butter. So why not mix them? I needed to get into this point of my life and buy this book so I would realize all the things that I'm missing in my future. So this just that is major plus of just buying this book. I know it sounds silly, but yeah. Soft shell crabs. I think I've tried this in Asian cuisine, but I'm really curious how these taste here. And my number one thing about this book is that, unfortunately for me, many of this seafood I cannot get in Sweden. It's not gonna be the same, and yeah. But I'm gonna try my best to try to get similar things and try the recipes appropriately, especially now that summer is coming. The sun is shining finally in Sweden. We're all not depressed, or we're slightly depressed because we're getting out of it. This one I marked because this is so close to what you eat in the Caribbean. We have pies, which just, it looks exactly like an empanada, but as you can see in the picture, inside is like very like wet and like a lot of sauce in it, and it's so yummy. And it's very different from the empanadas that you get in South America, like the Argentinian style empanada or the Colombian empanada with corn, because those ones tend to be a little bit more on the dry side. But this is almost like having a stew inside of a patty. And yeah, I know that in San Andres, my favorite island of Colombia, it's called, they have crab patties, and it's like crab patty. So good, you can't miss it. So yes, these are oyster bisque. Never seen this. Probably French, who knows? So I'm gonna definitely do it. I marked this one because this is the okra gumbo. I think it's one of those classics. You also see a lot of okra in New Orleans, and all this region has the inherited things from Africa, and because of slavery, and people bringing all these different ingredients from Africa to United States in that era, and to the Caribbean, because we also use okra a lot in the Caribbean. I love these ones, like the shade of roux, and it's such a simple thing, but sometimes you're cooking something and you don't even know how it looks. Well, here it is. You just have it. And then chicken gumbo. I also saw one with duck. I don't know if I saw it. Yeah, duck gumbo, which I've never seen it. In my eyes, or the way I saw gumbo, I was like, oh, it's probably only seafood. But I realized, like, no, it's with everything. Silly me. Cajuns and Creoles. Yeah, part of the discussion that I mentioned earlier. So, like, come on, read about it. I love the pictures. They're so beautiful. And then poultry and rice, smothered chicken. I mean, I bet this chicken must be the most incredible chicken on earth. Can't wait to go to her restaurant. I think like I will actually make the trip there if I go to United States. And then dog jambalaya. Like, this is another thing. Like, you hear about the jambalaya that is shrimp or anything with seafood, but duck, I have no idea. I mean, maybe it's just me and you guys already knew about it. Louisiana rice. So all these explanations about rice are amazing, as always. I want to buy this book because I want to read it from cover to cover. Like, I think there's so much valuable information here, and like the tips are like straightforward. I love the author. She seems to be like really down to earth and no bullshit, and I love that. It's like, okay, here's the cuisine, you're gonna love it, these are the traditions, take it or leave it kind of thing. And then greens, like peas, potatoes, potato soup, salt pork. And salt pork, and not only that, salt pork, but also salt pork tails. I don't know if you've ever eaten that, but there's a bunch of dishes from San Andres that are like heavy stews with coconut milk, and then they put the tail of the pig, the salted tail of the pig, and it's so good. You would be surprised. It has fish also, so sometimes when I tell people like pig and fish and everything in like a coconut white soup stew, it doesn't sound good, but then when you're eating it, you're like, it makes sense. And then butter, compote, smothered eggplant and shrimp. I've never done eggplant and shrimp. It never crossed my mind that this could be possible because, of course, I am limited by the little I know. And here it is. And then the other thing that I love are all these pies and gâteaux and syrups, and I mean, it just makes me feel like there must be like cane syrup. There must be so many desserts and pies, and if you look for like this one, sweet potato biscuits, this has to be like the bomb. So this summer I'm gonna be making a lot of things from these. I'm gonna order this book because definitely it's a must-have. I think anyone that wants to learn about this region of the United States and about the history of the United States and its legacy, like the descendants from the French colonies and the Cajun and all the things that I explained earlier, then this is the way to go. What a better way of finding out about a culture than through the food, isn't it?